Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live stream. My name is Sam. Hello, and welcome to Tonicized. Today is going to be fun. We're going to be doing some Q&A. So if you have questions about music, or maybe you just want to look at some music or listen to some music, or you heard a song, you're like, yo, Sam, we need to talk about this. What is happening in this tune? Well, this is your chance to ask those questions. If there are no questions, well, that's totally fine as well. We're just going to keep rocking with our springtime composition. Very large orchestral composition, which is really tricky to write, but it's coming together. So we're going to keep working on that if there are no questions. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Happy Monday. I know that today is the first day back to work. So if you're back at work and you're watching this back after the long day, hope you had a great day. I hope it was fantastic. I hope you got some stuff done. I hope you feel like you've productively and successfully contributed your energy to a positive impact in the world. And yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. If you like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the goal of getting to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you have any friends or family members who would like to learn about music or want to know more about that kind of stuff, be sure to tell them we're here. And we'll be rocking and rolling as always, every Monday and every Saturday live. And then as of this week, every Thursday, there will be a new YouTube video, which is going to be really exciting. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. I'm excited. If there's questions, throw them in the chat. If there is not, well, then let's get into it. We're going to dive into our springtime piece and listen to the whole thing from start to finish of what we have so far and go from there. Okay. Let's see. I need to push the buttons, though. That's what I have to do in order to make that happen. Let's see here. I'm going to make it nice and purdy so we don't have to worry about... I wish they could change the colors of these. That would be fun. But anyway, that's a side note. Let's take a listen to Springtime. I'm excited. So lots of instruments, lots of rhythm, lots of fun. Hello, Carol. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Mally. Welcome to the chat. Got a chipper little melody. I have to say, though, as a composer, you listen to your ideas over and over again. So if you're going to write good stuff, make sure it's good. So this playback doesn't quite make it out to be as good as it is. I think like this would be pretty powerful. The staccatos don't really come through, but that's okay. And then we go back to that. It's kind of fun. I really like that. I also see that there's some... Sorry, I have to fix that. That's just not okay with me. We're going to do this and then... Oh, no, I have to have that there. It's this I'm going to change to this. Half note. There we go. That was what I wanted to change. Oh, no. No. Okay, well, that's a pain. Okay, yeah, you can't have, well, you can. It's just not ideal to have all of those rests there. That's not fun. Okay, let's skip ahead. We've repeated a little bit. We're going to go to the second ending here at 46. So we've done the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and we're going to finish that up. Yeah. There we go. love that idea, that melody that comes in. Okay. Really cool. That's awesome. Okay, so now I think that's kind of the end so far. We've got how many minutes here? 3 minutes total, which is pretty good. I think goal-wise, I would want to get to maybe like an 8 minutes, so we're about halfway, which is pretty exciting. I want to see what we can do with this idea, the 73 onwards, because that's going to be where we get some new ideas today. And that's going to be, hopefully, where we get some questions about the theory or what I'm doing or that kind of stuff. And we can kind of redirect and talk a little bit more in depth about those kinds of things. That's the goal for today's stream, is to always make sure that we are focusing Mondays on like the theory of what's happening or the ideas of what's happening and explaining a little bit more in depth as to what's going on with these rooms. I like how it kind of dies off. But I think we should have some strings in here. So let's take a look at what we're doing. Excuse me. I'm going to do this just for now. I'm going to make it so it's a little bit longer with that string part. And we can see if we can add some chords to this. Oh, does the link work? Doesn't look like a link. It does not so far. Let's just see here. Interesting. Let's see. Does the link work? Weird. Huh. Well, if you have a link that you want to share with me, how would that work? That's really strange. I didn't know that links didn't work. Very interesting. Okay, cool. Well, if there is a link challenge here, let me just see if I can change that. I know that, you know, sometimes there's some dangerous links that get posted, but for our purposes, I think having a link accessibility would be a very important thing. I didn't even realize that was a problem at the moment. Let's see. Let's see here. I'm not sure. Customizing. Weird. Yeah, we're all good there. Weird. That is so strange. Well, I'm not entirely sure. Weird. Okay, well, I'm going to try this. See if that works. Mark it and copy. Yeah, it should be able to go now. Try that out, Mally, if that works. If not, then perhaps just sending it to me via Facebook or something like that would be the best way. I'm not sure. I'm sorry about that. That's really frustrating. Oh, that's me. That's my stream. Okay, let's go here. So yeah, not sure what that's about. Apologies if that's a little confusing. I thought you could mark and copy. I can't even see it. That's the challenge. Wait, what link are we talking about here? Are we talking about the live stream link or a link that you're trying to send me? Because I could send you links, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't even know. See, now we're just, this is the Q&A portion of today's stream. We're just going to try and figure out what I can send. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, well, let's just, I kind of want to see if I can send a link. No Time to Die. Oh, okay. We could just do that. But can I play other people's stuff on YouTube? This is the question. What makes it a Bond song? Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Well, I could probably discuss that without even listening to it. I'm a little nervous to play stuff that's, you know, that public and that publicized, just because I don't know exactly 100% what YouTube will do if I play that. So what I'll do, Mally, is I'll give you kind of some insights as to what makes something a Bond song. That is going to be hopefully the thing that will help you. So if you have not heard Billie Eilish's No Time to Die, definitely go and check it out. I'm going to see if I can copy the link itself. And if I can, yeah, we'll do that. It's crazy how many views Billie Eilish gets. It's actually absurd. It's kind of crazy. Let's see if I can post a link. There you go. So yeah, go check that out. And while you listen to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes something a spy song. So let's talk about the piano here for a second. I don't need that. There we go. Hi. Welcome to the Piano Cam. So sometimes when we get these, you know, James Bond kind of movies, we get these really mysterious sounding scores, or these mysterious sounding chords that really kind of drive the whole thing when it comes to the mood and the overall feel of the music. So what I'm going to do, there we go, is I'm going to play for you guys some kind of spy stuff. And I want you to listen to how it makes you paint the picture of James Bond. Adele uses this kind of stuff as well. That kind of sound. So what exactly is happening here? Well, yes, dominant chords and diminished chords. Now, those are good, but there's also one more. It's the augmented chord. And if you take a look, like, well, this is a major. Oh, sorry. This is a minor chord, right? And that turns into a major chord, right? So this idea of raising, right, is the same as what you would do with an augmented. That's very kind of musical theater, though. So that augmented sound you can use if you put maybe a different chord over it. Right? That idea you could make happen as well. It's a little happier, but it also kind of gives you that spy feel. So that's kind of the transition of a spy movie. But the diminished chords do a much better job of making that. And the dominance. So we have a minor, we have a major, and then a dominant. That's kind of a different version of what I just played. So it sounds completely different. So why are this? Basically, the point I'm trying to make is those three chords are important, but it's how you play those chords. That's what makes it very spy movie. And this is just kind of a kind of a new phenomenon that's happened, I think, in the last, well, since the James Bond movies came out. There was not music like this wasn't around as much, and then they started to experiment, and they were like, hey, we got this cool little sound that we can use here to make it sound like a spy movie. And so they decided, hey, we're going to use this more and more and more. Jane Every, no worries at all. Thanks for being here. Love to see you. So usually you start with a minor to make it, mysterious. And I don't want to wait for you like I always do. And then the melody is a minor, right? And I don't want to fall back down to earth. Right? That kind of idea is extremely spy movie. And I don't want to wait for him. Some pop music would go to the major now. Right? But that was a weird chord at the end. I don't know why I played D7. But that E flat resolve eliminates that spy feel, right? So instead of going to here and resolving, it goes from the F minor to here. And that changes everything, because now it feels unsettled. It's like the story isn't quite finished, and we go 5-1. Right? That's so crunchy. And then maybe they go back to here, then to here, then they go to E flat. To A flat, and maybe now they go back to that minor. So there are those chords, the dominant 7, the diminished chords, and some of those kind of maybe some slash chords, right? Those are all just kind of root position chords. But as long as you have that minor sound, it will sound fantastic. But there are some alterations that you can make, and one of them is this. Right? So minor to the major to the minor again. Right? That is coming from what? Well, it's actually coming from what's called the parallel minor. So basically, if you want to learn about chords and chord progressions, you'll have to learn about diatonic chords, meaning the chords that you can build within a scale. We're going to use the key of C major, which has all of these lovely notes, and we're just basically going to go 1, 3, 5. And then you go up another step, and that's a minor. So you have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then major. And this is the same pattern for every single key. D major, you have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, 1. So this is called the major diatonic chords, and these are the chords that pop music use all the time. Right? That kind of stuff. However, there's also a minor version of this where you can build the triads or the chords with the minor scale. And it's a really fun thing where all of a sudden you just got a minor chord here out of that scale. And we call this the parallel minor because it's the same starting note that we had with our C major. Only now we're using the minor scale. So it's a parallel minor, not a natural minor, which is in a different position. from your major starting point. So that is where I can start experimenting with some different chord progressions. Here's the 1, here's the 2, right? Here's the 3 major, right? So we had minor, diminished, major. Very different than the major diatonic chords. And then we have this minor chord, this minor, what was that, 4? Yeah, minor 4. However, check it out. If I use a melodic parallel minor, so now we're spicing things up. We're using a different type of minor scale. There's 3 different types of minor scales that you can put into different places. There's the natural minor, which is what we're all used to. And a natural minor just follows the key signature. So there's G major, here's E minor. Right? It still uses F sharp. Just starts on a different spot. So that's the natural. The harmonic minor is a raised 7th, meaning that you take that 6, 7, 8. So anything from, you know, Aladdin to any desert movie, any Hollywood, they use this. That kind of sound, that's the harmonic minor sound, which is pretty cool. Last but not least, we have the melodic, and this is the one that's really important. 6 and 7 are raised. Now, that's only on the way up. Coming down, it goes back to the natural minor. So that's really interesting because those 2 notes, the 6th and the 7th, are actually going to change our chords as we move up the diatonic chord progressions. It's really fascinating, and if you're not following, it's all good. You can watch this back as many times as you'd like, which is really fun. So check it out. We had C minor, right? That's the one we were working with. So here's C minor. We use the A flat because that's there, but remember, 6 and 7 are raised now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh-oh. It's going to be there. And then 7 is going to be here, right? So now it's... so this changes our chords a little bit. So we have minor, minor, augmented, major. So when I was playing this in my chord progression, where was I borrowing from? What chord was I using? Well, I was using the 4 chord of the diatonic chord progression of a melodic minor scale, which is pretty darn fancy for saying you can just go major and minor on the 4 position. Essentially is what I was trying to explain. We went the long way, but that's essentially why you can do that. Okay? Very fascinating, very cool. So let's go back to that. So there's my C minor, A flat major, and then maybe I go to the major. When the sky falls, it's literally Skyfall. It's to a T. It's Skyfall, which is really, really, really interesting. Mally says the theme to Poirot is also very like that. There you go. So it's used in other places as well, and I think that spy sound comes from starting in a minor, playing around with some major kind of chords inserted around, going from a minor to a major kind of thing, and then adding a dominant chord to get back to the main minor chord. That's essentially what makes the spy sound. So if you listen to the Billie Eilish link that we had earlier in the chat, that song's going to have some similar elements for sure. Now, I'm not going to play it because I don't want my content to get flagged and then I get a big old X and then I can't, build this channel bigger than I want it to. So I'm not going to take that risk quite yet. Just want to make sure that we're following the rules as per usual, which is good. So thumbs up. Great question, though, and I hope I answered it. I hope I gave you some things to think about. Those diatonic chords are tricky, and I'm working on something right now that's going to hopefully help clear things up a little bit with that. But in the meantime, we'll just keep talking about them on live streams, which is gonna be good. So, yeah, of course, Melly. If there are other questions in the chat, let me know. Throw them in there. That'd be good. Let's play some spy kind of jam here on the same key, C minor. So where's that B come from? The melodic minor, right? The melodic parallel minor. There is the sneaky spy. Does the dominant. Very spy. Very spy. So I ruined it. Did you see that? So I can't use certain chords. I could go down a little bit. Not quite. That doesn't work. That's very pop. Because that resolve is wanting to go on the A flat major. And if we resolve on the major with a jam like this, with a super spy chord, it's not gonna work. The majors can only be used as kind of bridges to the end, right? So minor, we put the major there, and then the minor is the kind of the end, right? So we start sad, we give ourselves some hope, and then we resolve. The major or the dominant is a little different. It's got that minor quality to it, that tension. That one. So that doesn't quite equal to the major sound. You could finish like that. That would be really spicy. What chord is C7, no 3? Great question. There's C7, there's no 3. So if you're looking for the full rich sound of a C dominant chord, no 3 doesn't give you that quite as well. But let's say the melody has an E in it. There's C7. So basically, if you see something in the chord symbol that has a no 3 in it, that just means don't play the third, because that means something else is playing the third, and you don't want to step on their toes, essentially. Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. So some of these bigger voicings. So if I go, there's C7, but what if I do this? And I take the B flat and I go like that. Well, that's pretty cool. But it's got the G in the bottom, so now we have a slash over, slash chord with a C7 no 3 over G. But as soon as I put that E in there, it really thickens it out, and I can change the quality just by lowering that third down to a flat 3. So a fun little thing that I like to practice, and you can do this on any instrument, is picking a chord like that, like a C dominant. That's like the Zelda thing. I don't even know how to play it. I'm tangenting, but a fun exercise I like to do is essentially taking that minor chord or a certain type of chord, taking out a note and seeing if I can rearrange it a different way on the piano. So having that versus this, right? Same notes. I've just taken this and put it up here, and then I've put the G and the C and I've inverted it around. So that is going to give you a better sound. It's going to be a nice open sound as opposed to the nice blocky sound. And this is something that I'm working on a lot because I am so used to this. Right, just the big solid root position or inversioned chords, but not the open chords that, you know, gives us a lot more open sounds to use. So, and then finding a rhythm that you want to practice. Maybe I'm changing more than one note. And what is it? Oh, well, it's a B major 7 sharp 5 over G. That sounds complicated. That's a very advanced chord that you can figure out if you're experimenting like this. That's a very spy chord. Oh, look at that. There's a chord. It's a C minor 7, but I've spread it out. Yeah, something like that. It's kind of fun to, you know, pick a chord, see what it is, and then how do I get to something that I know, right? Oh, that's just one away. The question of how do I get to something that I don't know, or how to get to something that I do know, will help you retrace your steps. So if you do end up playing that C minor chord again, oh, now it's like, oh, I could just do this, and I've got an augmented chord, right? That's another spy kind of sound too. That's really cool. Yeah, if you're playing spy music, don't change the bass note. That's another way to do it. For the opportunity to rise, I don't want to know all the dangers that lay inside. Yes, the dangers are inside. Ooh, I want to wait for this moment to pass. I don't want to know how the moment's gonna last in my mind. Yeah, see, now it's a pop song. As soon as I changed, it turned into a pop song. So it's kind of funny how all those things add up into creating the atmosphere or the kind of the sound of, you know, the spy music. So a great question from Mally, and I really dove deep into that, which was great. So star smiley face line, I can't wait until I can improvise like you do. Well, that's very kind. Thank you very much. I hope that I can show you some tricks that will get you there. The biggest challenge that I had was rhythm, and with, you know, what to play, how to play it, because once you get the chords, it's like, oh, okay, I got triads, what do I do with it, right? Oh, you know, 4 quarter notes, woohoo, awesome, right? And if you're doing that, that's totally fine, because that's where you have to start. There's no way around it. But you don't feel like you've done enough, and that's what I was saying by that. So, right, I can get away with a lot of stuff, even the slow stuff that I was doing, right? Those are just quarter notes, right? That's really fun. But maybe, right? So, how am I creating those rhythms? Well, I'm using eighth notes. 1, 2, 3. Right? And then it's just a matter of playing with some scale notes. I don't like it. I don't like it. There we go. Right? So experiment. Get creative, right? I was just trying stuff. I didn't like it, right? So you move on and you try something new. Don't be scared to make mistakes when you're improvising that kind of stuff. It really gets to a point where, you know, you start to remember the stuff that you've experienced, or you start to remember the accidents you made, and it's like, oh, right, I can do this instead, right? Instead of very subtle, right? Versus kind of fun. Okay, man, that was good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Michael Tarosky, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. How are you, my friend? Well done joining us today. Thank you for being here on this fine Monday. If you have theory questions or anything else, and this goes for everyone as well, if you have theory questions or something you want to hear, let me know, and I will see what I can do to answer them. Today is Monday Theory Day, which is great, and then we'll be back on Saturday with some more music writing, which is going to be really fun. Good to see you and hear you again. Hey, thank you very much. You as well. I hope you're doing great. I've been doing good. Yeah, just one day at a time, working on some projects and trying to keep myself busy, as always. But I hope you're doing well, too. It's great to see you. Great to see you in the chat. Okay, we got lots of time left, so let's see if we can do something fun. That's a fun sound, isn't it? That's fun. No, the fun part about this piano is I can go. I have a little whammy. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So this is a fun little thing because you can have some different sounds with this thing. Ah, a harpsichord. I ain't Beethoven, but but yes, Michael T. Rosky, the question there. I don't know what game this is, but I'm buying it. LOL. That's very funny. Same here, doing well, busy on house kid. Awesome, that's great to hear. Thanks, Jane. I appreciate that a lot. Did you just randomly throw those rhythms together, both hands? I could not do that. Well, I guess partly, but here's the secret to the sauce here, is if you learn songs, or if you force yourself to learn songs that have those challenging rhythms in there, or have, you know, very focused bass lines like that, that's where you can start to really experiment with how those are going to sound. So that's very Latin, right? Really 1 and a 2 and a 3, right? It's very syncopated to the point where it's at the 16th note level. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and learning where to put those. I learned that from Spain. So I haven't played that in a while. Yeah, and then, so. So this rhythm. And then the solo section goes. So when I was learning this song, I had to figure out how to do like a comping rhythm, so something over top of a soloist. So I had to practice this left hand really hard because there was no bass player. So I can do it pretty easily now. And then all it takes is some slowing down and the right hand. And that just goes forever and ever and ever. So that was like, yeah, I need to pick songs with different patterns and playing. So yeah, the bass player, you know, that's their job, is to play like the. It's funny. I actually, I'm gonna pull it up here. I really started to experiment with that pattern with this piano. Yeah, there we go. And the way I did it was I found a Latin feel, or a oh my goodness, what am I doing here? I found a Latin feel playback, so I could actually feel where this was. So you can find these on YouTube all over the place if you want to practice this kind of thing. Let's see if I can find the thing I actually used. But essentially, oh, here we go. That's what I want. Yeah. So excuse the MIDI. It's going to bombard this thing with MIDI data. So I'll just switch to that one for now. But So this idea, right, gave me the opportunity to get used to the rhythm and where the drums were gonna sit, right? So I'd practice this for, oh God, hours. With this song in particular. Now this is really low for what I was playing. And then there's a chord change here. So or just the quarter notes if you wanted to. And then I messed up, yeah. So that was something that I had to practice a lot, right? And get used to where the rhythm sat, where they fall into place with this rhythm. And then you speed it up, right? You go to, not that fast. Yeah. So on and so forth. I'm going to stop there because that's too fast, and I'm not in the headspace for it. So, all good. I totally gave up on Yurima Love Me for that reason. Interesting. Okay, that's fair. I need to pick songs. Yes, fair enough. I need an aha moment, but I'm no good at improv. That's fair. Improv's hard. Coming up with your own ideas is hard to do. Maybe we talk about that a little bit for a bit. I'm still new, and it's one of the exercises, but can't get past it. That's okay. Fair enough. I'm a bit all over the place. Fair. Okay, so let's talk about improv. How do you improvise? How do you come up with some ideas? My best advice for anyone who is wanting to start learning how to come up with their own ideas musically is to practice their scales differently. So what I mean by that is if you learn the scales, so, right, going from C to C, a lot of the time we just go, okay, hands together, 2 octaves, right, and then it's done. But what if you did it differently? What if you changed it up? So something like that, or maybe just one hand. That sounds like a melody. It's not that much different than the scale, right? The only difference is I'm throwing in some extra kind of spicy rhythms. You could do easy rhythms. Right? Don't have to always go linearly. You don't have to go up and straight back down. You can go da 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 da, right? It's just eighth notes and quarter notes, and that is really something that kind of opened up my melodic door, if you will, the soloing door, because it's very intimidating to sit there and go, okay, what is my melody, right? A melody could literally just be this. Or maybe it's this even easier, right? We go. Right? It's a melody. It's a boring melody that makes you want to burn your eardrums out, but it's a melody all the same. And then all it takes is a little bit of extra notes. So down to this one. And then maybe you challenge yourself and go to a black key. Alright. And that is the secret to opening up your soloing palette, your solo identity, if you will. Being creative and being, you know, unique in terms of soloing comes from the music you listen to, comes from the scales you know and the keys you know, but it also comes from your kind of your ability to force yourself into a creative mindset, meaning you're giving yourself limitations so much so that you have to be creative, right? Okay, I have to only use 2 notes, right? E and D. Okay, well, I'm going to try and find chords that have E and D in them. And then maybe C. And then all it takes is, right? That's it. It's very, very easy in concept. Hard to do, but easy in concept. And that's, I think, the most exciting part, because all it takes is a little effort and that concept becomes quite easy to do. So if you're having a tough time soloing, that is what I would really kind of give you as an insight. Just give yourself 2-3 notes to work with in a scale that you know really well, and then see if you can just play some triads over it. 1, 6, 4, 5 is great. Right? Get creative with those rhythms. It'd be fun. Billie Eilish, Bad Guy, is not many notes in the melody. That's right. 3. 4 maybe. And then. So there's an A there. Ooh, spicy. That's it. That's it. 4 notes, 5 notes even. Not even that bad. So, where do you start when you're composing a new song? Martin, great question. There's a few things that kind of hit me with a new composition. Sometimes it'll just hit me in the face. Literally, I'll be like doing groceries. I'll be buying groceries, or I'll be going for a walk. Walks help a ton for me. I don't listen to music when I go for walks. I try not to, at least, because that's when some of my best ideas happen. Driving also, when my mind kind of shuts off, that's when the music really kind of pops into my head a bit more. So that just kind of a fluke sometimes. But if you want to kind of know if I sit down to write something actively, I will start usually with a melody or like a word or a sentence. So it'll be, you know, for songwriting especially, that's really where the lyric or the word will drive my decisions into what this song's going to sound like. So, you know, if I go, standing at the drive-in, you know, that sounds sad. So I'm going to go, standing at the drive-in. And then now I'm in the key of D flat major. I'm going to start using those chords. So, standing at the drive-in, watching clouds go by. And, you know, as you practice, you start to kind of paint the picture a little easier. That's the songwriting stuff. But when it comes to composing orchestral things, it's all about manipulation of ideas. So, right, that idea, right? What does it sound like over the G? What if it sounds like over the E flat? Doesn't quite sound okay, right? That is really kind of the place where I start experimenting and exploring a bit more, because it's always about the what if. And if you can find something that sounds good and you can justify why you chose to do it, which is where the theory comes in, then it's a good decision, right? If you can't justify it and you're just throwing spaghetti at a wall and hopefully it sticks, well, you're just going to feel like you've just thrown spaghetti at a wall and some of it stuck and you went, Yay. You know, if you're actively thinking about it, that's what you really have to get into a little bit. So if I'm, coming up with ideas, it's a melody, it's a what if this happened, or can I change this about it, or maybe this is this, and then that leads me to a new idea, that leads me to a new kind of question. It's always about answering my own questions and using the theory that I have. So I hope that answers your question. I hope, but yeah, very good question. That's a very good question. What if you can't justify it, but it works well? Well, if it sounds good, then you're proud of it. Great. One day you will be able to justify it. And I think, if you are, experimenting and you find some really cool chord, right? Write it down, keep it in your memory bank, put it somewhere on an audio file, because those are the things that make you better at writing and creating when it comes to that kind of stuff. And, you keep yourself accountable to documenting all that and keeping it filed well. If you're ever stuck with ideas, you can go back and be like, oh yeah, that one chord that I played that like 4 years ago, right? That's the stuff that, you can go back and analyze, and then maybe you have better theory skills, and you're like, oh, hey, that makes so much more sense now because that's this and this is that. Oh, right. So I guess I should redact my statement of, if it doesn't make sense, don't use it. Or if you can't justify it, don't use it. Use the things that sound good and justify them later. But if they don't sound good and you can't justify it, then be cautious is what I should say. Because you can always make interesting decisions. You can't always make good decisions, if that makes sense. So make sure you're trying to make as best of a decision as possible for what the music needs. It's always about the music. It's not about you. It's about what the music needs. What about negative harmony? So this is a concept that I'm actually pretty kind of new to. I was introduced to it by Jacob Collier, of course, and he talks about, how there's like a negative space with the harmony, instead of having this like this 1-6-4-5 kind of idea. There's something more to it. So do I have talking points on this? As of right now, I don't. It's something that I've kind of started dabbling with, not nearly as much as I should in order for me to confidently talk to you about it. So ask me in a few weeks, JCG, and I'll see what I got for you. But from my understanding, what it is, just at a basic kind of shell of a level, is you take, let's say this, and you change the chord to kind of the polar opposite of what it is. So if this is E flat major, my understanding is that you would use something in the C minor world or the A flat diminished world, right? So, right, it's a very different feel. But then again, I'm also using just the same note in the chord, the G, right? That's my understanding of what negative harmony is. I am not 100% sure if that is accurate. So, like I said, give me a few weeks. Perhaps in a few weeks you come back and be like, yo, did you check out that negative harmony stuff? And be like, yeah, I kind of looked at it more, and this is what I found. So I apologize I don't have more on that. That's a great question. And I'll have to do some digging. And there you go. You're making me better there, JCG. I appreciate that. So pretty cool. Jacob Collier is sure to know a lot. Yes. I'll check back in a few weeks. Sounds good, JCG. Yeah, and if you guys are really interested in the theory stuff, like Jacob Collier, man, his music is a little hard to listen to for a long period of time because there's just so much happening, but he is good, and he knows exactly where he's putting things and why he's putting things, and just I aspire to understand theory as deeply as he does. However, and I think this is a very important thing, understanding when to use theory and when to trust your gut is a very important aspect to writing music. And I tell all of my students that as well, who are learning about composition and stuff like that, is if you're learning about the theory, great. You're learning how to justify your decision making, and that's very important. But there's a point where you know too much theory and it becomes overwhelming. My kind of philosophy with this is you have to know the theory enough to use it. You have to know the theory enough to, like I said, make sense of your decisions. And once you get to a level where those decisions are consistently making sense and constantly, changing and shaping your music into something that's better or something that's, a higher level of art, that is when I think the theory learning is sufficient. You can stop diving into the wormhole that is music theory, because there is a point in any profession, I think, where it starts to become too much focused on the what if as opposed to the what, if that makes sense. So what do you have to work with versus what could be? And the trailblazers of any industry, like Einstein or all those guys, they were great because they kept pushing, right? They kept pushing into the unknown. And if that's something you want out of music, if you want to be the Einstein of the music theory world, then that's something you've got to do. But if you're not using the theory, if you just learn it because you want to know it, music is different than science that way, because, science, you can sit there and you can go, yeah, the planets shape and move around this gravitational pull a certain way, and that's the thing. But when you get to a point where it's that level of theory, it's really hard to kind of take yourself back and just listen, take yourself into that sounds good. Oh, that's cool. Don't care what it is. That's really awesome. Right? That was pretty. And I didn't think about anything because I know my finger patterns well enough. I know kind of what the chords are going to sound like a little bit. And if you want to make an active decision, well, then you have to know. But if you're taking yourself out of that mentally and just enjoying what you're doing, I think there's a balance there. You have to kind of do both. That's my soapbox rant for the day. Okay. What do you think about 5/4 time? How do you understand it? Ooh, great question. Great question. Very good question. So 5/4, there's two ways that I learned how to do this. One, become friends with a drummer. One of my best friends from university is a drummer, and he pushed me to learn about rhythm that I never would have ever learned had I not hung out with him. So that's my hack. But I think another way to do it is, if you're just counting, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just count 5 over and over and over again. Figure out where the accents are, right? That's my first advice. So learn kind of, where the spacing lines up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. If you can get the downbeat every time, 5 becomes really easy. Boom, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom. The other thing that helped was learning about some of the combinations that you can put into a rhythm of 5/4. So, or a measure of 5/4. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is just the 8th quarter notes. Sorry, I'm rambling. 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are just 5 quarter notes. If you take those 5 quarter notes, right? Maybe we change it up. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. So now we have a half note for 4, 5. We have the 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, which is really fun. And that helps with understanding what the 5/4 is going to sound like. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 1, and 2, right? Gives yourself a little bit more context as to how you can go about playing. And then just whole notes plus a beat. So 1, 2, 3, and try a melody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Right? You can match the left hand. That's totally fine. There we go. So it's easy to make a mistake, and that's okay. 4, 5, 1. 6, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? There you go. Like the Impossible theme. A little bit. Yeah. That was the same chords actually too, which is funny. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, that's what I would say. If you're learning how to play in 5/4, if you're learning how to try and play in 5/4, just try to count 5. Feel where the beat 1 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And then come up with a kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, right? And try to experiment with those rhythms in the left hand. That will help a ton figuring out where things line up, which is great. So awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for all these great questions, you guys. We'll take a few more questions. Yeah. Any question? That you have? Throw them in the chat. I know I said anything. Yes. Yes, I did, Tim. I did say anything. I might regret that later, but that's okay. Yeah, anything music related or anything that you have questions about in terms of maybe writing music, composing music, or just music in general, or just, where did I start music? If you got some personal questions, depending on the question, I'll answer it for sure. I'm not going to say I'm going to answer anything, but you can definitely ask. I'm on the edge of my seat now, LOL. Yeah, it's a risky business doing these live streams public, eh? It's fun stuff. Well, while we wait for maybe another question or two, let's see if we can have some fun. Hey, some drums. Just kidding. Okay, let's do this one. Let's do this. Just kidding. I don't want to. I'm not feeling that. What? That's weird. I don't like that beat. Welcome to the Trap House. Just kidding. That's funny. Sam, do you know about the modes outside the Holy Trinity? The ones from outside the Ionian modes. Melodic minor, harmonic minor. The ones outside of those three. Oh. That's scary. That's some scary stuff. Do I know about them? Yes. Do I know the names of them? Not really. I kind of do in terms of application. So we got to go from the beginning here. For those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with the word mode, don't panic. It's not that hard. Essentially, a mode is a scale within the major scale. So if I have C major, right, I could go like this. And now it's a different scale. This is D Dorian. This is E Phrygian. F Lydian. G Mixolydian. A Aeolian. B Locrian. And then C Ionian, or the major scale again. So there are 7 in total. If you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you don't repeat the top note, right? Those are the 7 modes, and they all have the same name based off of the position. So position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They all have those respective names: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, or Locrian, depends on who you ask. I think it's Locrian because Go-Crian. That's what it would sound like if you put the G. Anyway, besides the point. Then you have Ionian again. Now, the question here from Tim is JCG. I'm going to get to your question in just a sec. I love the microtonality question. That's great. But Tim is asking, what about the modes of the minor sequences? So remember, we had 3 different minor scales. We had harmonic minor. Oh, sorry. Natural minor. Duh. Sorry, I shouldn't say duh, but I made a mistake. So natural minor there. Then you have the harmonic. And then you have the melodic. And then you go back down. So the question Tim is asking is, okay, what about this? Right? Is that Dorian still? Well, here's a better question for you, Tim. I'm in a minor key. Would you agree? So if I'm in a minor key, right, that means that this is technically Aeolian. If it was the natural, right? This is the Aeolian of the E flat. So Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian. Right? So now what I'm doing is I'm just creating an Aeolian with a sharp 7 is what I would call that. That's easier to think about than, oh my goodness, a minor key and then, right, what is it? That's how I, etc. Yeah, you got it. Okay. Yeah, fair. So a sharp 2, for example, right? If I have this, like, well, that's a different key, right? That's F minor of a harmonic, right? So again, Aeolian sharp 7. It's not about, thinking about it as one way because it's that. Sometimes it's easier to think about it a different way to make it easier. So do I know the full kind of scope and the names of those? Again, Tim, great question. Oh no, CG. What was it here? JCG. Yeah, those some great questions coming in, you guys. I'm gonna have to study up here for the next session. I think you guys are gonna ask some tough ones. So the sharp 5, yeah, that's gonna be what? Well, that's what I would think immediately the major, right? But what if it's the sharp 5? Right? That's just a mode of something else, right? That's going to be a Ionian of the A flat, or it's going to be a, the Phrygian of a F minor, that kind of thing. If you think about it differently, it makes it easier to think about when you have the key signatures in front of you, like the circle of fifths and that kind of thing. So I haven't really dug too deep into that because I found a easier solution and I kind of hacked the system. So I don't think about like, oh, that's the name of this because it's this, right? And again, it goes back to the kind of the soapbox moment I had earlier. The music theory is only as deep as you need it to be for you to understand it. And there is some merit to going deeper, and I'm going to have to with all these questions, my goodness. But I think, when it comes to the actual application and the playing, I know it's such a cop-out of an answer, but the application of the playing is the most important part. That's why you learn the theory. So if you can play this stuff based off of something else, why would you name it something that's more complicated? And that's my kind of philosophy, but there is merit to it. So let me dive into that a little bit more, Tim, and hopefully I'll have some more kind of context for you if you ever ask it again. Yeah, great question. My goodness. You guys. Ooh, what's your hack? Well, I just explained it. Yeah, so 1 flat 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7 lately. Yeah. Yeah, that's just F minor in a different way. Because you got flat 2. Yeah. What was it? Flat 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flat 6? What? 5, flat 6, 7, 8. Interesting. So that is the same as the flat 6. So the hack is, where's the adjustment? Is the adjustment something else? That's the hack. So your flat 6 is actually the minor 3 of F. So that makes it a minor. And then you have the B, so that's a sharp 4 technically. Or a flat 5. Probably a flat 5. No, yeah, you were... What did you have? That's tricky. There. Interesting. Yeah, so you're just sharpening or flatting a different note inside of you know, the aeolian of something else, the minor mode. That's what I usually do. It might be a little bit too confusing, but that's okay. We'll talk about that another day. I think they all need their own names, like colors. You know what, Tim? That's a very good question. That's a very good statement. I really enjoy that statement. I think cultures who have no word for blue only see green. I love that. Yeah, there was actually I'm sure you're referring to the same thing that I'm about to talk about, but there was a study where, they showed people who had never seen or been introduced to the color blue. And I know it sounds weird, but the word for blue didn't exist in, a certain I think it was a nomadic kind of peoples in Africa that didn't have a word for blue, but they could distinguish all of the various shades of green 10 times better than we could, because we only have one word for green. And so they couldn't see the blue color because they didn't understand what the blue was, but they could see the subtle differences of all the greens, which is really interesting. And I think there's a thing I read where the oceans looked green in ancient history, and they describe it as being very green. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I get your point for sure. Yeah, if you don't know what the name is, you'll never know what it is, kind of thing. But sometimes you don't need names, I think. You just kind of know. But for a theoretical Q&A, I think having a name would be good. So let me get the names for you. Have you heard of the theory of tempo equals pitch? I haven't. No, I haven't. But I think it's a very interesting idea, where the faster you go, the higher it is. But I think everything has to increase in speed. And I think where the speed increases is the frequencies of the notes, right? Because this is a certain frequency, right? But if you speed it up, it goes and it goes faster, and which leads me to the question that you had about microtonal music. How do you write with microtonal music? Better question, why? Why would you write microtonal music? That is my question. Now, again, going back to Jacob Collier, he does stuff that's like ba da da, right? Da 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 da. There's only 4 there, but I put 5. Bum bum. 1 2 3 4 1 1. Ba ba na 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 one na 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 ba da da da. Yeah, so there's 5, but better go ba. I missed it by 1. It's hard to do, but essentially you can take it and split up the tones into not the the expected notation that is the piano, right? And everything's spaced out scientifically, frequency-wise, into specific notes. But if you have the ear for it, and if you can sit there and piece together, silence of the night, da da, right? You can kind of throw them in between melody notes. That's the best place I've found. But again, why? Why? Is it for your own sake, or is it because the music needs it? That's my big thing. It's like, does the music need it? It's cool to do, kind of showy, but do you need it? Not really. And I mean, in an orchestral setting, you don't really need it either. So, mean tone I have not heard about that. Mean tone temperament? I don't even know where to start with that. Mean tone is that like you tune your instruments to make them sound mean? Is that is that what that is? I've never heard of that in my life. You know that there's a ratio between fifths. Yes, there is. Yes. Do I know it to the extent that I should? Probably not, but there is a ratio, and I'm familiar with it for sure. The acoustics and the frequencies and the harmonics, if you will, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Design tech. Really? There's an app that does? I did not know that. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. Designing temperament. That sounds wild. But again, why? You know? Like, some of the best music that's come out of the human species, essentially, is never had that. You know? I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, but it was, looking back at it, you think, okay, why would you change the temperament? Why would you change the whole thing? You know? Just for the sake of doing it? Cool. But no one will notice. Guaranteed. No one will notice that you did that. Unless for some weird music theory nerds that are like, that's so cool. And fair enough, you know, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But my question is why, when we don't even use Ionian Sharp 2. Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, it goes back to, does the music need it? If the music needs it, right? If you're going for some like crazy sci-fi score for a movie that's, you know, revolutionizing the stories of space travel, maybe you use an Ionian Sharp 2, you know, like, right? Maybe. I don't see where else you'd put it, but yeah, that's great. Do it. And that's where I'm at with that. It's like that music theory is as powerful as you want it to be, essentially. So, how about the pentatonic scales? Oh, yes. So you just want to talk about it? You want to talk about pentatonic scales? Pentatonic scales are a jazz musician's bread and butter, and it's fantastic to learn about this. I'm actually learning about this now. Pentatonic scales are just 5 notes, right? Hence the name penta. That is 5 in Latin. Pentagon, that has 5 sides. And so when you have, you know, a pentatonic scale, you can have some fun with that, right? If I go E flat minor, and then I switch to a different pentatonic scale, you can kind of get that jazzy sound, very similar to what Coltrane did, where he was like, that is the jazz musician's secret sauce for sure. The pentatonic scales are kind of cool in that sense. Do I use the modes of pentatonic scales? You could. And then, well, hold on. Yeah, this would be. Does it sound good? Kinda. So the Lydian sounds good. The Mixolydian sounds good. Kind of okay. No. Yes. So again, you could. There's always you could. There's always. Every question that you're about to pop in the chat here, JCG or Tim, you could. You could. Why though? You know, and it always goes back to that. Why use it? It's great to understand it. Why use it? Is it going to sound good? Well, yes or no, and then use it. If it is yes. So the Locrian pentatonic. Yes, George Harrison, you know, liked it, but then again, George Harrison also did other things that he liked that potentially would, you know, alter one's brain chemistry. But I think if you're talking about that kind of stuff, you have to look at what makes sense to you as an artist, as a composer, as a musician, or as a theorist. If you want to understand the deeper levels, go for it. But how are you going to use that if it's too advanced or too complicated or sounds just too wonky? That being said, though, there are some cultures around the world that use, you know, Phrygian, for example, as their main scale instead of, you know, the European Western tradition of Ionian. Oh, yeah, major scales are great. There's a Phrygian Right? That's kind of that's the flavor, you know? And yeah, if you want to use the flavors, go for it. Go for it. But if you don't like the flavor, if you don't like the taste, you know, don't use it. I think Tim is, that's why we're asking, smiley face. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I definitely think that, you know, in my perspective, I have a very kind of peanut butter and jelly palate, if you will, when it comes to the music that I'm used to, except for the jazz stuff. I really like the jazz stuff, so maybe there's a hint of paprika in there somewhere. A peanut butter and jelly with paprika would be disgusting, by the way, but that's besides the point. You get my imagery. I'm kind of on the reserved side when it comes to the music, because at the end of the day, the thing that people enjoy listening to are the sounds that make them happy, right? For most. For some, it's like, oh, things that are crunchy and, you know, really just out there those are the things I like. And then they listen to jazz, or they listen to lo-fi, they listen to something different. So it really becomes a debate of preference, right? And no one's right, no one's wrong. We're all in the same boat. We're all just trying to enjoy the art form that is music, and the theory that comes behind that, right? Like you said, Ionian sharp 2 or whatever it was, right? Those are very advanced concepts that I think a lot of people want to know about if they are deep into the theory. If they're not deep into the theory, though, it's like, why would I know that? And so it's a really weird thing. And being a streamer, right, sitting here in front of you guys, it's great for me because I get to really kind of challenge myself to understand and name the things that you guys are throwing at me, which is great. And we've got some people in this stream right now that are like, what is happening, right? What is going on? What are these guys talking about, right? And it's like, oh, crazy, right? And then the other thing is like, okay, how do we use this in application? So maybe that's something we try down the road. Maybe we pick a concept, just one, and we try and write a piece based around that concept. That would be a fun little challenge. I think that would be cool. So perhaps down the road. Carol's like, yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know what's going on. And that's fair, totally fair, 100%. But it's really fun to have these conversations and talk about it, because now, Carol, you have these things in your head that you're like, what the heck is a Ionian sharp 2? You know, it's kind of fun. So, okay. Tim is like, I dare you to make one of these modes sound good. Ionian sharp 2, Ionian sharp 5, Ionian flat 2, or Ionian flat 5. Okay. It would make me happy if we played a 2-5-1 in one of those modes. Okay, check it out. Here we go. So here we go. We're going to go with C because it makes my life easy. We have Ionian. Let's do Ionian flat 5. So, right? Ionian flat 5. Here's a little hint. Is the same as a Lydian. So C Lydian is the same as Ionian flat 5. So, if I do this, and maybe I do... And then, here we go. So, 2, 5, 1... There you go. That would be... Oh, sorry. There you go. Which would be great. There you go. One of them. Just one. So it shows that, you know, this Ionian sharp 5 could be G major just in a different context. So everything is everything all at once. It's like a parallel universe. It just goes, ah, and you start freaking out about it. Like the mathematics of it. That's great. Do you use a whole tone scale? Sometimes, yeah. So that would be, you know, for like something star related. So maybe it's like, right? Oh, off into dreamland. They used to do that a lot with some of the harp stuff with the old Disney movies, or, you know, like, oh, that's the whole tone stuff right there. Pretty cool. And then maybe you do like a resolve it. The whole tone scale sounds yucky, but at the end of the day, it is a thing that you can use to add some spice, only for a moment, and then bring it back into something that, you know, pays the bills. Awesome. All right, guys, ladies, gents, friends, families, whoever's watching out there, thank you so much for being a part of today's live stream. We're going to wrap things up here. Thanks for all the great questions. I really am grateful that you guys are watching the content, watching the live streams. I moved away from Twitch because I wanted more conversation. I wanted more chat in the stream, and I wanted to really kind of get into those things, and that's happening. So I'm very excited. So if you have any more questions, or you're wondering about some of the basics of music theory, be sure to check out some of the other videos. Be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be talking about some more music theory and, you know, working on some projects in the coming weeks, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it and be a part of it as well. So be sure to follow Tonicized or subscribe to the channel, and like a few videos. Comment down below on some of the other videos if you want, just to, you know, keep the conversations going in and around the content when I'm off live. And yeah, tell your friends about us. If you have some more music-related friends that are, you know, into this kind of thing, let them know. We're here. I have a map of modes if you want it. Ooh, that's fun. Can we email you anyway? A great question. You can reach out to me on Facebook. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. I think, is my email up there? I'm not sure. But yeah, get a hold of me on Facebook. I think the links are in the YouTube page there. I'm gonna double check, make sure that that's all set up. But yeah, if you want to have, you know, more questions and stuff like that, please reach out. It'd be definitely fun to watch, and fun to get to know you guys a bit better. Let's see if my channels. Okay, so there's the other channel, which is great. Do I have my social stuff on there? Yes, so I have my social media stuff on there. It's if you go to the About section, it'll go down to the bottom there, and you can jump into those Instagram handles and stuff like that. So yeah, check it out. Reach out to me there, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of good stuff, and I will hopefully get to see you guys soon. Oh, here you go, for business inquiries. It says on the bottom there, details. So you can reach out to me there. And the links below. So you can follow me on all those platforms. You can check out some of the music that I've released and stuff like that. And follow along there. When will the next stream be? I stream every Monday and every Saturday here on YouTube. So the next stream will be Saturday. It'll be more focused on the actual writing portion of the music and that kind of thing. So we're going to be working on the project Springtime, which is a 3-movement orchestral piece. So that'll be kind of the focus on Saturday. But next Monday will be the next Q&A stream, and they're all kind of scheduled already, so you can set the reminders and hit the notification bell to make sure that you know when we're going live. Awesome. Cheers from Australia, Tim. Thanks for being here. Love to see the Australians represent in the chat. Got a lot of Australians and down under, I guess I should say, that watch the content, which is fantastic. So thank you, Tim, for being a part of the crew. And hopefully I get to go down and see a beautiful country down there. I'm going to practice my accent a little bit, and really hopefully I'll be able to start really sounding like an Australian when I get back, and then we can start, having a good time on stream. CG is representing the Brits there. That's fantastic. I have to start practicing my British accent as well, but I'm probably terrible at both, and I'm probably embarrassing myself quite a bit here on stream. But I think it'll be probably pretty good. So, all right, everybody. Wrong part of Britain. Oh, I sound Kiwi. Darn it. Okay, I gotta practice more then. Sick as they say. Cool. So I saw that there was a question about soloing. I'm sorry I didn't get to it today. I will definitely hold on to that for next time. I did talk about it a little bit earlier in the stream, so if you want to go back and watch it, you can definitely check that out. So, all right, my friends, go say hi to your loved ones. Go listen to some music, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Monday for the next stream. Martin, hey. I'll see you soon, my friend. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. From England, too. Fantastic. Very cool that we can kind of connect about music all across the world. And I'm just sitting here in my apartment. It's fantastic. I love the internet. All right, everybody. Take it easy. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you guys on Saturday. And hit that notification bell to let yourself know when those videos come out. See you on Thursday, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.